Hi, my name is Marguerite Tonery and I'm the author of the Kapheus Series of children's books, and I'm just going to talk about Kapheus Water at the moment. This is a book that I really love and a lot of children love it too. And this book begins with an elf who's standing in the water of Ann Sullish, and it's a really cold spring morning, and the elf has a copper pan, and what she does is she's dipping the copper pan in and she's swooshing it to the air and she's dipping it in again, and she's looking for something, but we don't know what she's looking for. But as she's looking for this thing, whether it's gold or whatever treasure she's looking for in the riverbed, we hear her sing. So she sings a song, and it's a haunting song, and her voice is a haunting voice. And as she sings, it's a very foggy morning, and as she sings, the fog begins to lift from around her. It's if nature listens to her, and the fog recedes as she sings. So Eliza is asleep in her bed that morning, and it's really early, it's still dark, it's first day of February, really, really dark, really cold, miserable day, and she hears the sound of singing. And she wakes up from her sleep and she reaches down to the end of her bed and she looks into Kapheus as far as she can. She says, but she can't hear who's singing, she can't see who's singing, and it's really foggy. And she says to the wolf Joachim at the end of her bed, she said, do you think I could go to Kapheus for just like 5 minutes just to see who's singing? And the wolf says, well, I can hear your mother's footsteps on her bedroom floor. And Eliza goes, oh no. And the next thing she hears, Eliza, Jamie, come on, it's time to get up. We have to go to the market this morning. So they had to go to the market. It was a Saturday morning, and they always go to the market on a Saturday morning. So Eliza and Jamie, their mum and dad, travel to the market on the horse and cart. And the reason for this is that the dad makes everything to do with wood. So he makes horse-drawn carriages, horse carts, furniture, and also sells wood in the market. So they go all down to the markets, down to the road, to the crossroads, cross through into town, and then they follow the narrow cobblestones to Market Street until they get to where the horse chestnut tree overlooks the market square. And then they stop, and the dad goes, whoa buddy, and he stops the horse. And then Jamie and Eliza jump down from the back of the cart, and they pull down the sideboards and they take down the tables, and Jamie has to arrange the tables for the market. So he arranges one table here under the horse chestnut tree, one table here, and one table behind them, so they're closed in. And then they take all the produce down, and Jamie puts eggs and milk and vegetables here, and Eliza has jams here, and mum has breads and cakes and buns, everything baked here. And then the dad closes up the sideboards of the cart, and he heads further down the market square to sell furniture and firewood. And so he says goodbye to them. And the next thing, anyway, they're arranging everything, and everything's looking really well, and the mum is really, really busy getting all the cakes and buns laid out onto the stall. And Jamie looks around, and he sees crowds of people coming into the market square, and these people are wearing long brown tunics down to their ankles and hoods that come up over their heads, and you can barely see their faces underneath. And he looks down and he said, Ma'am, are they Franciscans? Because they were wearing the black leather sandals that the Franciscans wear. And the mum says, no, they're not Franciscans. And she's very busy trying to organise her stall. And then Eliza says to Jamie, oh, they're probably Carmelites. And mum says, no, they're not Carmelites. And Jamie says, what are Carmelites? Oh, Jamie, do you not know? Eliza says, the convent down the road. And mum says, no, they're not Carmelites, they're not wearing the cinctures of Carmelites. And Jamie says, what are cinctures? Oh, Jamie, the black leather belts the Carmelites wear around their waists. Is your stall ready? And Jamie says, yeah, ma'am. So then mum looks around and she sees that there's a person waiting at Jamie's stall, a customer. Jamie, you have a customer waiting for you. And Jamie goes over to his customer and he says, oh, tá broner. And he begins to serve his customer. Now, Jamie's customer is a druid man, and he's standing there at the stall, and when Jamie starts serving him, he notices that the man has the spiral of life, or the Celtic spiral, tattooed onto his wrists, the triple spiral. And Jamie says to Eliza, look. And Eliza looks over and she sees the tattoo on the druid man's wrist. And she says to Jamie, look, the druid woman that's at her stall has the very same tattoo on her wrist. And the minute the guy sees Eliza looking at his wrist, he pulls down his sleeve. And Eliza says to the woman at her stall, she says, how many would you like? And the woman said, well, I'll have 3. And she said, and Eliza said, what would you like? And she said, I'll have 2 strawberry jam and 1 blackberry. So Eliza said, okay. So she gives the woman 2 jars of strawberry jam and 1 jar of blackberry jam. And then she says to the druid woman, thank you for your custom. And the woman said, oh, the pleasure was all mine. And she laughed heartily. And Eliza thought this was a little bit peculiar, but she said nothing. And so what she did instead is she went to the crate underneath her stall to pick up another 3 jars of jam and to put them on the table. And as she was coming up with her jars to the stall, the woman noticed the birthmark on the crown of Eliza's head. And she said, is that a birthmark on your crown? And Eliza said, yeah. Can I take a closer look? Jamie heard what the woman said, and he said, Eliza's busy. Eliza, don't let her look at your head. Ma'am! And then the druid man at Jamie's stall said, I think that's about it. How much would that be? A 4.20. Eliza, don't let her look at your head. Ma'am! 4.20, you're not cheap. Well, the hens laid those eggs this morning, and that milk is as fresh as the cold day itself, Aideen interjected. So the man just bowed his head, counted out the exact change from his purse, and handed the money to Jamie, and he looked deep into Jamie's soul. And he said, I bet you're wondering where I've come from. And Jamie took a step back. There's nobody wondering that now. We're very busy here today, and unless you want to buy something else, be on your way, Aideen said. The man bowed his head, turned round and disappeared into the crowd. Eliza, we don't accept gifts from strangers. And Aideen took a crystal from the palm of Eliza's hand and handed it back to the druid woman. Get back to work, the 2 of you. It was really, really busy that day. And the druids seemed to come to Eliza and Jamie's stall constantly. There were so many of them there, and they're buying so much of the produce, and they're always asking strange questions to Eliza and Jamie, but they didn't know how to answer them. And then after about 3 or 4 hours, Eliza noticed this little old woman walking through the crowd, and she was a frail woman. She had a bend in her back, and she slowly and slowly shuffled her way through the crowd. And as Eliza saw her approach, Eliza thought she was going to get knocked over because it was so busy, but she didn't. And she came all the way to Eliza's stall, and she said to Eliza, are your scones soft? My teeth are all but gone. They're as soft as my pillow. How many would you like? Eliza asked. Well, I'll have 6 in that case. So the woman pointed to the 6 scones that she wanted, and Eliza picked them up from her mum's side of the stall, and she 1, 2, 3. She was counting them into a bag for her. And because Eliza was looking away from the woman as she was counting them, the woman reached out her hand to touch Eliza. And just as she was about to touch Eliza, the mum turned around and said, hag, don't touch my child. Eliza nearly jumped 10 feet. Jamie nearly jumped 10 feet. And by the time they turned around, the woman was gone. Get back to work, the 2 of you. There's a lot of work to be done here today. And the mum said no more. So Eliza kept working away, kept selling her produce. And after about another hour or 2, the mum looked at her watch and she noticed that the children hadn't eaten all day. So she waved down to Seamus's stall, and Seamus waved back. Eliza, Jamie, here's some money. Go down to Seamus's stall. He has 2 bowls of soup waiting for you. Go straight down and come straight back, and don't delay. So Jamie and Eliza ran under the stall, ran down the street until they got to halfway, and they looked back, and Mum wasn't looking. So they stopped. Eliza, what's the story with the druids? Eliza said, I don't know, Jamie. Did you see that druid man? And she said, yeah, what about him? He had a tattoo on his wrist that was the same as the birthmark on your head. Why would anybody want your birthmark tattooed onto their wrist? That's weird, Eliza. I wouldn't want your birthmark on my wrist. I don't know, Jamie. Do you remember, did any of those druids say anything to you? No, not really. Do you remember the woman, do you remember that druid woman this morning? She gave you something, a little crystal. And Eliza said, yeah. Did she say something? Come on, Eliza, you must know something. Did she say something to you? Well, she just called it the speck of light. Speck of light. I know what we'll do. We'll go to Danu. So they ran down to Danu's stall. Now Danu was the mother of the two-hijja Dana, and she was almost 200 years old, and on her stall at the market, every Saturday morning she had small little boxes of wooden boxes filled with crystals, and there were so many of them there, and Eliza and Jamie started searching through all the boxes of crystals to find the crystal that the druid woman had placed into Eliza's hand. But they couldn't find the crystal. And as they were searching, kept searching, a large crowd gathered around them of druids. Eliza couldn't see her mum's stall, she couldn't see Seamus's stall, and she couldn't see her dad further down the street. They were completely trapped. Danu saw this, and she ushered her druid customer away, and she said to the crowd of druids, she said, "What's your business here?" And the druids said nothing. They simply took the hoods from over their heads, folded their arms, and stared at Eliza and Jamie. "Eliza, go get your mother, she'll know what to do," Danu said. But she couldn't get to her mother, she was completely trapped. "Jamie, take Eliza with you and go." Jamie didn't know, how am I supposed to go? Where am I supposed to go with Eliza? "Jamie, take Eliza with you and go." So Jamie grabbed hold of Eliza's arm and pulled her through the crowd of druids. And as Eliza was being pulled through the crowd of druids, the druids touched Eliza. Jamie pulled her through the crowd of druids, ran down the street to the mum's stall, and they got to the mum's stall, and the mum said, "Where were the two of you? You were supposed to be here 10 minutes ago." But ma'am, nothing. "Eliza, you stay in the middle of the stall. Jamie served the last few customers." "But ma'am." "Jamie, do what you're told, when you're told, as you're told, and do it now." "Oh, ma'am." "Jamie." So Jamie had to serve the last few customers, but it was only 10 minutes to the end of the day. So he served the last few of them, and then just as he was about to fold down the tables, he asked Eliza for help, and he said, "Eliza, can you help me?" And Eliza said, "Yeah, sorry, Jamie, I don't know, I was in another world." So Eliza put out her arms to help Jamie with the table. And as she did, Jamie looked at Eliza and said, "Eliza, what happened? You're hurt." "Ma'am, Eliza's bleeding." So Eliza looked down at her hand. And you remember the tattoo of the druids on the druid's wrist are the same as the birthmark on the crown of Eliza's head? The druids that were not to touch Eliza but did. Well, the birthmark was bleeding, and the blood was going down her collar, down her sleeve, and dripping from her hands. The mum looked over and saw Eliza bleeding, and she got clean tea towels and she put them on the crown of Eliza's head, and it bled straight through. She said, "Jamie, go get your father, tell him we're going home straight away, and don't delay this time, Jamie." So Jamie ran down the street to get his dad. In the meantime, Danu was running up the street as fast as you can run when you're almost 200 years old. She wore a long black heavy skirt that the fisherwomen used to wear. She wore a black shawl around her shoulders, and the one thing that she always wore that made her stand apart from all the other women her age was she always wore really bright red shiny stiletto heel shoes. And she ran up this cobblestone street as fast as you can run in stilettos at 200 years old. And she got up there and she said to Aideen, "Let me see." And she opened up and she looked inside and she said, "Aideen, the ark has opened." We will have to read on to find out what happens next. So this is Kapheus Water, is the third book in the Kapheus series. And this book is available from kapheus.com, Kapheus.com. And when you buy it online, you can buy it in independent bookshops around Ireland and abroad. But when you buy it online, you can have it dedicated to the child in your life. So I will dedicate it to whomever, write a little inscription and sign it. Thank you for listening.